Hey, what's shaking, homies? Today we got a really delicious video for you guys. So today I'm going to be cooking both some St. Louis ribs, these nice big St. Louis ribs. Then I'm also going to be cooking these nice baby backs. Okay, these are going to be the most two common types of ribs if you buy ribs and you're looking to cook some at home. And this is the most traditional barbecue. So if you didn't know, before I was ever a pro MMA fighter, before I was a yo-yo, before I did YouTube videos, I was actually a chef. I worked in kitchens from when I was 15 till I was 24. I worked as a sous chef at a fine dining country club. I worked as a head chef at a bar and grill by my house, and I also worked as head chef at a catering service. So I've got a lot of cooking experience. Also, my uncle Kurt, that I'm like extremely close with, he is a competitive barbecuer. He owns his own hot sauce company. He owns his own garlic company. He's been on the cover of Chili magazine before, and yeah, he's just been in barbecue basically forever. So I kind of know what I'm doing, so take my word for this. But what we're going to do is we're going to do some of these on the Weber, and then we're going to do some of these in the oven, in case you don't have a Weber. I was going to do them on my smoker, but I figured a lot less people have smokers and the video won't get as many views, and I thought, I'd be helping you guys out, just teaching you how to do these on the Weber. So I'm still going to smoke these on the Weber, and then these ones I'm just going to cook these in the oven. But the process is going to be almost identical. The St. Louis cut are a little bigger, so they'll take a little longer. But other than that, this is actually really easy and a lot of fun and super, super delicious. So let me show you guys what the first step will be, and I guess let's just start doing it. Okay guys, first step is you're going to need a sharp knife. It doesn't have to be a big knife like this, but you're going to need a sharp knife. Step 2, here, crack a beer. And we'll put that aside for now. Step 3, we got to take this connective tissue off the back of the ribs. Now both St. Louis ribs, or these are the St. Louis, but both St. Louis baby back, they're going to have these sometimes, depending on how they were preserved or how they were packaged, or just how much blood was in the package with them. They might be kind of red like this. Don't be alarmed, that's totally normal. St. Louis have a thicker connective tissue, so it's a lot more common that it'll be like white like this. So just so you know, but whatever. General rule of thumb, if it don't smell bad, it's good to eat it. But okay, so what we're going to do is, all we got to do is we got to start like peeling off one corner, and then this will all just rip off. Some people like to leave this on here because at high temperatures, and if it flares up or something, this is kind of like going to protect the meat. But at the same time, the flavor, the smoke, the rub you put on it won't be able to get into the meat quite as easy. So I like to take it off personally. But if you want to keep it on, you could skip this step, just so you know. So basically, this is kind of a pain. It's not too bad. What you want to do is, which one will demonstrate this the best? I'll do it here. It's just easier to see it because it's white, so it'll be easier on the camera. Okay, so I like to start on one of the ends, and what I do is I find a bone. Okay, so I'm gonna go like one of these first bones. Actually, a bone right here. Okay, so this is gonna make this pretty easy. What I do is I just kind of like go against the bone, you see, and I get it started. And then once you get it started, you can kind of like, pull it up a little. Okay, you see, and it's starting to come up. And then what I do is I take a paper towel, because this stuff is really slippery and it's hard to grab onto. Okay, so once I got that, I'll actually grab it with the paper towel. And you can see now, this whole piece of connective tissue comes right off. And this is extremely tough. Like, if you ever had ribs and the bottom layer is just like this tough skin, you could cook this for hours and it'll still be tough as hell. So yeah, so that's pretty much all of it, so it comes off in pretty much one clean piece. I gotta cut a little bit here and there. The pieces that are real small, like this is actually fat, and that's actually good, that'll give it flavor. There's a little like connective tissue there. I kind of just like score it a little so it breaks down easier. But if it's not a big piece, I don't really worry about it. So we're done with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to the other 3 ribs, and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so we got all the connective tissue off. Now next step, now if you've never done this before, this might seem kind of weird. You're gonna take yellow mustard, okay? And the yellow mustard, what this is gonna do is the mustard seed, it's got enzymes in it that help break down the meat and the connective tissue, and it'll give it, it'll make it more tender. But at the same time, this is going to give something the rub to stick to. Because if I just put the rub on here, as it starts cooking and the fat starts melting and everything, it's all just going to come off. So this, if you're really squirmish, you can like wear gloves or use a brush. But I just use my hand. It's how like every barbecue competitor in the world does it just with their hand. I've never seen anybody use a brush, but you could if you're a wimp. That's fine. I won't judge you. I got a little piece of hair on it there. I probably would have been okay. Probably would have just burnt off in the fire anyways, but you know. Okay, so then you can do the same thing to the other side, so you just flip them over. I already did that side. Okay. And then same thing, you just mustard them up. And you will not taste this mustard at all. This is just, like, if you don't like mustard, don't worry. You could use other things. Some people use like olive oil and stuff, but I honestly think olive oil just burns off, or as the fat starts to meld, it kind of pulls the... I honestly think this is the best way to do it. This is the reason why everybody uses mustard. But yeah, if you don't like mustard, if you got something horrible against it, you could use olive oil, but there's no vinegar and stuff in olive oil, so you're not really going to be breaking it down much. But yeah, I definitely recommend doing it this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that sit while we prepare the rub, and then we're just going to put the rub on it. So we'll just push this off to the side. Let me get my spices together, and let's do it. Okay guys, this is where you can kind of get as crazy as you want. You could use a pre-mixed. You have if there's a pre-mixed one you like, go by all means, just use that, save you some time. But if you want to make your own, you can really do whatever you want with this. Some people like to put brown sugar and stuff in. I like to keep this simple because the sauce on the end is going to do a lot of those sweet notes anyways. To me, this is more about getting salt on it, helping break it down, helping it cook better. So the first thing is just going to be regular old salt. You could use more, you could use anything. You use coarse salt, fine salt. This is what I got, so I'm using this. So, you know, a healthy amount of salt. Okay. And then I'm going to use probably about almost that much pepper, a little less. And probably about half that much pepper. Okay, so we got salt, pepper, garlic powder. We're going to keep this really simple. There's going to be 3 main ingredients. Okay, so I'd probably put about as much pepper. Probably put, if I was doing it in parts, it would be like 3 parts salt, 2 parts onion, or 2 parts garlic powder, 2 parts pepper. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of paprika, just to give it a little color. You know, just a little. So maybe 1 part paprika, 2 parts, the other 2, 3 parts salt. But like I said before, you can kind of get whatever on this. You can get kind of as creative as you want. Yeah, a lot of people put brown sugar in this too. I don't feel it's necessary. Oops, off camera. Okay, so yeah, you just give it a little, you know, make sure it's all combined in there good. And then this is pretty much self-explanatory, is what I call it rub. When you do this, I kind of like to just dust it heavily on. So like, I'll just do an example on one, and then I'll do the other 3 off camera, so it doesn't take forever. But I like to put a very healthy amount on there. Like I kind of just let it, like, and that mustard is just going to make it all stick on there real good. The real fatty parts, you want to put a little extra. Okay. And I like to flip it over. I like to get the top too. Like, you don't have to go super crazy, you know, because it's mostly just bone. But I like to season every single part. Even like these flaps here, I like to flip that open. You know, if you have that on there, a lot of times you'll get them already trimmed off. I usually just keep it on if it doesn't come from the butcher, trimmed off. Usually, I feel like the butcher's kind of like going to a doctor. Like, he knows what he's doing. Like, if he wants you to keep it on, you should probably keep it on. There you go, there's good meat in there. You know, your doctor wouldn't say, you know, do this, and you'd be, hey, what do you know? So that's kind of how I feel. Listen to the butcher, they probably know what they're talking about. Okay, so yeah, so just like that. You just want to make sure you get the seasoning on the rub on everyone. Some people put a ton on there and they really rub it in. I don't think it's really necessary. I think this is more than good enough. So I'm gonna do that to the other 3, and we'll start, guys. So what I do is I like to get some charcoal just going on the old Weber here, and then once the charcoal starts to die out a little, it's the beginning of the year and I haven't picked up my yard yet. We have maple trees, so I have maple and oak wood all over my backyard. So I just took some of that, but you could pick up, you know, just some wood chips, or even if you did it just with charcoal, you'll still get a little smoky flavor. It'll still be really good. I just like to put a little wood on there too. So now that that's dying down, I put some wood on there. This fire's too hot though. I like my Weber because it's got the little temperature gauge right there. The temperature gauge right now, it's reading like, I don't know if you can see that, but like 350, so that's too hot. What I want to do is I want to get it like to 275, and then I'm going to put it on there. So I'm going to let this just burn off till it's about 275, just under 300. I'm going to put my meat on this side, the indirect side, And my ribs are so big I might have to cut them a little. But either way, I'll show you guys when we get there. So I'm going to let this get to 275, and then I'm going to try to maintain the heat between 275 and 230. So I'm just going to keep watching this, and every time it gets to like 230, just add more wood. It's pretty simple. And then the baby backs, I'm just going to do in the oven, but the same way. So I'm just going to set the oven at 270 and just put the baby backs in the oven. So that's real easy. So you don't really need much direction with that, I don't think, until it's time to take them out and wrap them. But so the baby backs will probably take about 2 to 3 hours. The St. Louis will probably take 3.5-ish to 4 hours. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on them. I'll show you guys how to tell when they're done. But yeah, this is climbing, so I gotta let this really cool off. Let this kind of burn off. So we'll let that burn off, and we'll be back, and I'll be putting the ribs on. Okay, guys, so you can see I got the coals all on this side, so I'm gonna put the meat on this side. So it's gonna be a pretty tight fit, but I think it'll actually fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right here. Yeah. And I'm going to put this guy, I'm going to lift him up a little. I like to do them like this when it's a tight spot. It doesn't really affect it much. Also, too, it kind of gets more air in there and stuff. So what I'm going to do is every probably like half hour or so, I'm going to switch them on which one's closer to the heat. And, I'm going to flip them around and stuff. I'm going to keep a close eye on them. But right now, I'm just going to cover this up, and we'll be back in about 20 to 30 minutes to just check on it. So now's the time where you just put the lid on it, keep a close eye on the temperature, and have a beer. Okay, guys, so the wood I have soaking in this flower pot, the wood I'm adding, and you notice I'm getting a nice smoke coming off the top. And right now, too, we are right where we want to be. We're about 250 degrees, 250, 260. So I'm going to add a little more wood, but you notice I'm starting to get a little bit of blood coming up on the top here. It's been about a half hour, so now it's time. I'm actually going to switch them. I'm going to put this one closer. Just got to give them a little flip-flop. And yeah, we're just going to keep an eye on the fire, but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for coals, and then you want to just put wood on there so it makes a nice smoke. And if the fire's too hot but you need more smoke, add bark. The bark doesn't really give it much heat, but it makes a lot of smoke. So if you need a lot, if you needed to go up in heat, put more wood on. If it's already hot but it's not making too much smoke, just rip some bark off some of the wood you got, throw it in there. Otherwise, wood chips always smoke good. I'm kind of using wood around my yard, but if you have wood chips, it's even easier. So okay, guys, so notice now we are starting to get some nice coloring from the smoke, and it is just coming out really good. It's been about an hour now. I've had 2 beers, 1 period of Capitals versus Penguins. And yeah, so just, put on a hockey game or whatever, and just keep an eye on it. But yeah, I just keep putting sticks on there. See, I'm almost out of coals, but that's good because it's now it's the point where it's really indirect. It was still a little too close when the flame and everything was pretty big, but as it starts to die and you can keep feeding it, you can kind of keep the flame pretty far, so you're really just hitting it with the smoke and the indirect heat. So it's probably gonna take another 2 hours or so, maybe an hour and a half. So we'll see what happens. Man, I am going for the Caps because I just am sick of seeing the Penguins win. Okay, guys, here's the ones that are going in the oven, just so you can see. All I did, really, I just did the exact same thing, but I put them on. Sorry, I'm putting an oven mitt on so I can grab this. I just put them on a pan here. And notice they don't have the same redness, but there is some of the blood starting to come out and stuff, and they're cooking good. Once again, I got it at 270. You can do depends how thick they are. These aren't that thick, so I'm doing 270. If they were a little thicker, I might do like 280. I just kind of, you got to kind of go with what you got. But 270, 275 is usually kind of like a golden rule. All right, we are starting to look pretty good. Once you start to get this red coloring too, you're going to want to start to, they call it mop it. Usually use what's called a mop, but I don't have one right now. And you want to use apple cider vinegar, so you're just going to take a little apple cider vinegar. And every 20 minutes or so, give it a little one of those. And that's really all there is to it. So I'm getting a nice color on it. To know when it's time to take it off here and then to wrap them, which we'll be doing later, is you want to be able to pick it up and like in half. If it breaks in half, like you don't want it where every single one is breaking off, but you want it like if you fold it in half right there and it snaps, and then it's time to come off. So we got a little bit to go, but we're getting very close. So probably another hour or so, we'll be ready to take it off, wrap them, do the finishing process, and yeah. All right, guys. So we're at the point now where I could wrap them. I actually took the ones that were in the oven and I put them on here just for a good half hour. while the flame wasn't too high, so that way they can get some smoke flavor to these ones as well. But yeah, so how you know is like when you pick them up, you can just tell by the amount of give they have. If it feels like almost like they're gonna snap in half, then like they're gonna break from the rib. Like you see that one started to right there. I don't want to do it too much because I'm gonna prepare these. But that's how you know when they're ready to get wrapped. So we're gonna wrap them, and then it'll take another 30 to 45 minutes. And then it's time to eat these babies. So let's do it. Okay guys, so you see these ribs. They're cooked to where we really want them. We don't want to overcook them more than this. But now we want to glaze them, okay? Now we could, most people like making this at home, you would just put barbecue sauce on them and then throw them under your broiler or throw them back on the grill and it's really hot. But if you were cooking like professionally, this is like how all the pros do this. What you do is you wrap them. So we're going to take some aluminum foil here. And we're gonna take a little more than we need. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take some ketchup right here, and we're just gonna drizzle on some ketchup like this, okay? And then on that, we're gonna take some butter, not margarine, we use butter. Some people use squeezed butter, like the Johnny Trigg. He's like one of the, like he probably won the championship a million times. He uses squeezed butter, and some people swear by that, but I like real butter. So, anyways, from there, we're just gonna take, and we're just gonna kind of go like this, all right? Okay, and then from there, we're gonna take some brown sugar. And we're just gonna drizzle that on like that. Okay, now we're going to take one of our racks, we're going to put it right here, and we're going to do the same thing to the top of this. So we're going to, I already had the brown sugar out, so we're going to go brown sugar first, because why not? It doesn't really matter. Okay, we're going to put the butter on top, and a little ketchup. And then we're just going to wrap this all up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go like this, and then like this. Okay, and then I like to double layer it. So then I'm going to take a new wrap, and I'm just going to kind of go like, what I like to do is I kind of like to go on like an angle. How do you normally do this? Like this, so then it just kind of, in case it drips out or whatever, it gets on there. And maybe a little more on this side, just because there's not so much on this side. But however you want to wrap it, just wrap it really, really good. And then I'm going to do that to the other 3 racks of ribs. And then I'm going to throw these all in either the oven, or I'm going to get the grill hotter and just throw them all in the grill. And then everything I wrapped in is going to kind of make its own sauce. So we're going to take that out, and then we'll put that under the broiler, and that'll be our finishing sauce. So it kind of makes its own sauce. At the same time, it'll tenderize everything, because all those juices will get into the meat and really make the meat sweeter, and with that butter and all the sugary substances and everything, that the ketchup, it'll make like its own sauce. So this is probably the most important part. Okay, ready? Okay, so we're gonna take them out of the foil here, and now you notice all that kind of made like its own sauce. And by steaming it too, it also helped make it a lot more tender. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw this under the broiler. You can either throw this under the broiler, or get your grill really hot and just put it on there, and you just want to caramelize all this. But essentially, you can just use this as your sauce. If you prefer to make your own sauce or add a sauce you like, you could do that too. But I like to just glaze this. Bada bing, bada boom, we're done. So I'm gonna throw this in my broiler. I'll show you what it looks like, and then let's eat it. Okay, and you want to put it under the broiler till you get that little sizzle, sizzle, sazzle action we got right there. And yeah, so it's ready to eat. Let's try these babies out. Okay guys, so that is how you make competition level ribs at home, whether it be St. Louis ribs, whether it be baby back ribs, or you make it in your oven, make it on the grill, pretty much the same thing. And these turn out perfect every time. So thank you guys for watching. Notice this bone just fell right off. And yeah, I'm gonna eat these things, and I'll see you guys later.